to the weather here this past week, I was unable to find a sufficient amount of time to tour a nature place, so I decided to take a virtual tour of the University of Minnesota's Landscape Arboretum via their website, a blog associated with them, and from the many times I've visited. The University of Minnesota Landscape Arboretum is located in Victoria, Minnesota, just a few miles from my house, and has over 1,100 acres dedicated to the protection, study, and overall beauty of over 5,000 different plant species and varieties. Because of the mass amount of different gardens and displays, the Arboretum has become one of the premier horticultural field laboratories and public display areas in the country. The main feature of the Arboretum would have to be the numerous amount of gardens that host a variety of plants and artwork. They create gardens such as the home demonstration gardens, perennial and annual gardens, rock gardens, Japanese gardens, sensory gardens, etc., and they also include both restored prairie and wetlands on their property. They also host both native and non-native plant species to Minnesota, some of which are housed in their various horticultural buildings in which they are studied by various horticulturalists and University of Minnesota students. A more unique feature is how popular the Arboretum is for different events. Many weddings, conferences, school dances, and more are hosted besides the daily foot traffic the Arboretum brings in from people who've just come to walk the grounds. The Arboretum also hosts many of their own events, such as various camps, art shows and exhibits, classes, and their famous Holiday Lights show that they show every year. The following clip is of the Holiday Lights show from the YouTube channel Susie Hopper entitled Winter Lights Show 2018. Another unique attribute about the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum is about 2 miles south from them is their own apple house. The University of Minnesota Landscape Arboretum Apple House is home to around 20 different types of apples, most of which are fusions created by University of Minnesota students that are sold at the Apple House. And it is also a popular destination during the fall because of the setup and the sales of all things apple related. My personal favorites are the Honey Crisp and Sweet Tango, two of their more popular types. Something that could be considered a little unusual about the Arboretum is the fence that lines the grounds on two sides. I say it's unusual because up until about a few years ago, they weren't there. They suffered a huge loss in their plant life due to local deer populations consuming them a few years ago, and so they put in the fencing along two roadsides of the Arboretum to help control the amount that comes in to preserve their gardens and their displays. At the Arboretum, there is an abundance of many other types of animals within the grounds, more specifically, birds. Bird watching in the Arboretum is something very common amongst the guests because of the various different species. Currently, because of the weather, there aren't as many to be spotted on people's visits, but during the summer, they are all you can hear. In the winter, though, the more commonly present species include squirrels, red-bellied woodpeckers, chickadees, barred owls, blue jays, and cardinals. There's also trace evidence of wild turkeys, possums, and few deer that can be found in the snow. Speaking of tracks, a common activity at the Arboretum is skiing or snowshoeing on the grounds in the winter. The following clips are from the YouTube channel Robert Plant, who documented winter bliss at the Arboretum. The amount of flowers and other small plants may be slim during the winter, as the Arboretum prepares the grounds to support next spring's new gardens, but you can still see various types of trees on the property. Those trees include Scotch pine bark, pin oak, ash trees, red oak, pine trees, and many more. There's also a tree made up of poinsettias that stands tall during their Holiday Lights show in the holiday season. In conclusion, the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum is home to so many different plants and animals. The people who run the grounds are dedicated to the preservation of the wildlife and study the property nonstop to learn more about what nature has to offer us.